Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Friends with Words podcast. I hope everybody's having a good holiday. On the pod today, a very, very special guest, good friend of mine, Mr. Gary Petersen. What more can I say about this guy? He was named Best Comedian 2016 by Boston Magazine. Past 2 years, he recently opened up for Louis C.K. Just a really funny guy and a real good friend of mine. So we spoke earlier this week. Here's a listen to our conversation. Enjoy. What's going on, Gary? How we doing?
I'm doing good.
You're not doing well? You're just doing good?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah,
fine.
fine.
I don't want to talk about it. No, I just I did nothing today. I worked in the morning and then just kind of stayed in bed, napped off the weekend.
Were you on the Freedom Trail, or you just...
I was working at the fake Senate next to the JFK Library.
Explain what you do. Explain to the people what you do exactly.
Job ends tomorrow, but one of the many jobs as a performer, the flexible jobs, is a little bit of acting at this full-scale model of the U.S. Senate, teaching the general public and children of our future about the interworkings of the legislative branch.
So important.
So necessary.
And so have you already planned out your quitting speech?
No, I just said tomorrow I'm done.
You can give them 2 weeks, you're just going to be like, fuck you guys?
Well, they knew for a while that I was leaving. I'm going on a road trip, sort of, with no real plan. I've always wanted to kind of do that. I have nobody with me, so nothing to worry about.
So you're doing your whole, your pilgrimage to L.A.?
Yes, I'm heading with the final destination being Los Angeles, California.
Clap for him, everybody. Clap.
The West Coast rappers have always connected to me a little bit more than the Bigs,
yeah,
and the Puff Daddies. And, I felt a Crenshaw connection. I felt straight out of Compton. It's so weird, but like I always loved West Coast rap over East Coast rap.
Well, you're a boy in the hood, obviously.
Yeah, the suburbs.
Yeah.
Suburbs is just as important to rap as the hood.
So, like, as soon as you get there, the first thing, you're just getting a low rider, and you're just getting a bandana.
I'm going to get some hydraulics on my Prius and just and make it bounce.
Red or blue.
And zip it.
See what he's up to. Red or blue. You know who you're affiliated with just yet, or are you just going to...
No,
whoever's the nicest to you.
I'm gonna make it purple. I'm going to blend them together. I'm going to make the Bloods and the Crips see that we're not that different.
At all.
Not that different.
Well, in a Trump America, I mean, they're kind of seen as the same.
Probably. That is another thing. One of the reasons why I'm going to take this road trip is I thought I was completely wrong about everything in the election. Almost, aside from my state ballot questions, I think I was wrong about the House, the Senate, the President. We're all shocked that Jill Stein didn't win. But
oh yeah, we were all pulling for her.
So I felt this sense of more urgency to take the trip that I was planning on taking anyways, but to take my time to see the land, meet the people, talk to folks, just see everyday people everywhere in these different places, to put faces to the red map or the blue map or the who knows map that we see every 4 years. Yeah,
and you're going to film, I guess you said before you wanted to film this this trip you're taking, and you're just, what do you think, you're going to interview people or just kind of just go around and just check the shit out and just...
I think, just kind of talk to people.
Yeah.
I don't really know what will come of it, if this will even ever see the light of day, or maybe I'll get eaten by a bear on the way. Yeah. And
they're cannibals, so you might be good.
Might be all right. Werner Herzog will just get a hold of my... Gary was troubled by the world around him and found solace in people's stories, the staff of Cracker Barrel.
Well, I hope you make it live, man. I was actually out there last week, and it was good. Well, I actually flew out election night, and so when I landed, he was the president. When I landed, and it was just like, I think the next day I was coming home. I visited the comedy store, and luckily I got past the 101, but people were not rioting, but they were running onto the 101 and blocking traffic. So I don't think anyone got hurt, but it was one of those things where it's just part of the protests that are going on right now, and so
Why would you run on? That's a highway.
Yeah, it's a highway. Yeah.
Why would you do that to protest? Because I've heard traffic blocks before.
Yeah.
And personally, I think protest can be effective if used properly, but some of it is downright dumb and stupid.
No, it is. When you're just, I mean, I get when people have a point, they're trying to make a point, but that's not helping anyone if you're blocking both sides from getting to where they need to be. There's a proper way to do that, but it was mostly like young college kids who were just like, nah, we got to do something.
Yeah.
Or millennials, so pay attention to us. But what you should have done was voted in the earlier elections, like every 2 years. People don't realize. I mean, that's the problem with like politics. They push the major election like it's a Super Bowl, whereas the things that the president's really going to handle aren't really going to affect you that much. It's the little things in your town and your city which are way more important. But yeah, it's America.
He can try to push us towards war and things like that. Executive orders, which could possibly get fought. But it seems like there's really only one side represented, and that's a little frightening.
Yeah.
A lot of people are looking at, especially gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer communities are looking at this transgender, not transsexual.
I don't know. How dare you, sir?
I misspoke. But the LGBTQ communities are certainly horrified and scared.
As they should be.
Vice President believes in conversion therapy, which is a leading cause of suicide in any kid that's ever sent there.
Yeah.
It's really horrifying that it's 2016 and people haven't accepted the fact that you could be born with blue eyes, brown eyes, gay or straight or transgender. It becomes this thing that's like we're revisiting the old past again and again.
Yeah.
But I think the only way we're going to fight back to this rise of the fascist state is you're going to need somebody in a suit and a tie that can stand, look the part, and civil disobedience and blocking a highway doesn't work, but bringing people together in a way that's confrontational to the issue, but not violent.
Yeah. And most importantly, they need to do what we're doing right now. We're just hanging out and having a conversation. Because I think the problem with social media is everyone has a platform now, and everyone just throws out their opinion. No one's really talking. Everyone just kind of has a way to throw out how they feel about something.
Yeah.
And it's all, you see like a Facebook, post, and people are just like, oh, I like that. I'm on his side. So it's like this like shows I'm with him. 40 people like this. Well, no, I feel this way. And then, 50 people like what he said. It's just like, this guy says one thing, I agree with, but no one's really talking.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the main issue, too.
How do you change, or can you change? That's another question I've been thinking about. I'm looking at this Bob Dylan post, The Times They Are Changing.
Oh, they are changing.
It's certainly a huge part of his career, and songs became like the credo of the 60s civil rights movement.
I dropped that poster in there just for you. So
I love it.
It was like a little small segue. I knew he was going to mention it, and then you're falling down the rabbit hole.
This is perfect. And The Godfather's in the corner, which is another way to run this thing.
Yeah.
You need a little bit of both. You need someone to be able to say the times they are changing, and then you need a creepy guy behind the scenes stroking a cat that can pull the right strings and break the right legs to get you in the direction you need to. Because there's this crooked game that seems to be in place that just seems so obviously wrong. Like how many more times Hillary won the vote by over 1 million something, which is 3 times as much as the entire electoral college. It's just like, I'm lost.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
So how do you can you change a mind of somebody that say let's just say they hate a certain group of people? How do you get them to talk to you and come to a consensus? Is like, well, I think all these people that I hate shouldn't have any rights, and I don't like them, and that's what I believe. My parents believe it, and I'm, of course, not going to be swayed.
Got to move to swing states. That's all it really is. People want to move to Canada. It's like, you guys got to move to swing states. That's really what it is. Like I said before, we just got to talk. Like, when you see... I noticed that. You think about, 15, 20 years ago, when like Will and Grace was on TV, and like every HBO show had like a gay character.
Mm-hmm. And
people need to see it. Yeah, it's a big deal. But the thing is, like, people need to see things to kind of calm down. Because if you don't see that in your neighborhood and it's kind of hidden, you kind of just have your view of it. But if it's out there in the open, you're like, okay, they're just people, which is really what it is. They're just people, but people are raised to feel a certain way, and when you're not around other people, that's what you're going to think, and you're never going to change.
I 100% agree.
It's almost like, did you see, like, on John Oliver's, his last week tonight, the last one he had before he went off, there was a little kid, and they're showing the effects of when kids grow up, and they're not around other races, how it can, like, really hurt them as far as, like, when they grow up, they don't know how to interact with other people. And there was a kid, he was like probably 9 years old, and for for Black History Month, he went to school as Martin Luther King in blackface, and he was like, "But what? I love black people." And the thing is, his heart was in the right place, but he hadn't been around enough people to realize what he was doing was extremely racist. And so, but the thing is, that's not his fault. That's the fault of his community.
Yeah, and his parents.
His parents, yeah. And she was the mother was confused too, but it's one of those things where it's just like, if you don't hang out with enough different kinds of people, your mind doesn't fully develop, and you don't see the world for what it really is, and so you kind of just get caught in what the way you think and the way your parents think and the way their parents thought, and so that's really what it is. I mean, you look at the map at the end of the election, it was just like all the red in the middle, all the blue on the outside. It's like, we don't go there, they don't come here.
It's like the blue as an escape plan with that. The sea around it. Full disclosure, I kind of did what that kid did with Muhammad Ali. I had no idea.
You did that when? In school?
When we did a wax museum in, I want to say, let's see, 3rd or 4th grade.
Yeah.
Weymouth, Massachusetts, South Weymouth. And my mom, I was like, I'm Muhammad Ali. I make my hair like a flat top. I looked so not like Muhammad Ali. For some reason, it's because I'm white. I have glasses.
But you had the heart of the champion. So.
I did, and I also renounced my president and country because I did not believe in the war. But
damn right.
The fucking my mom, she put makeup on me.
Blackface is what you want to say. She
put on blush all over my face.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know any better.
Yeah. She
just like, now you look more like Muhammad Ali. You'd think she would know better.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'd think a teacher might have said something.
So you went all day in blackface.
It just looked like I was... It didn't look like blackface at all.
It's just like you were a few pigments darker.
I was sweaty in places. So you know in the 1989 Batman when she throws water in his face?
Yeah. And
like he sort of has sort of a running face, and you see like the bright white coming through.
Yeah.
And like the makeup is the thing that's running the regular skin. I look like that all day.
Okay.
Like the Joker.
So you
it was not a good look.
So he's rolling in his grave pretty much if he would have seen young Gary Petersen.
I love Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Louisville Slugger. I'll tell you his original name.
Cassius Clay, yes.
Which he rejected, which I support.
Yeah. Clearly.
God damn, he was the best.
Yeah, he was the man. He changed a lot of shit for people.
Did you ever see the movie When We Were Kings?
No, when did that come out?
It was a documentary. There's footage used from, I think it's in the 90s or early 2000s, footage from the Rumble in the Jungle, him versus George Foreman. George Foreman was the scariest, most destructive-looking guy on the planet. Giant, bigger, younger, stronger. He had knocked out Joe Frazier, who Ali had these epic battle with, and he knocked out Joe Frazier so many times, it was like, oh, he's just going to kill Ali, and people were like, he's too old, and it becomes this story around like his comeback and how he is able to beat George Foreman. Spoiler. He is it's a wonderful movie, When We Were Kings, and they also, Don King at the time puts on a concert in Africa because it's done in Zaire.
Yeah.
And the concert lineup is like everyone you wish you saw in their prime. It's like B.B. King, Bill Withers, the Commodores, James Brown.
Yeah, I know. Remember James Brown was there. Yeah.
He had a huge mustache and a giant purple sequin suit. with the chest cut out like a U from his like collarbone down to his like first abs, and then up, and then wore like a detached purple bow tie, and Rhinestone's GFOS, Godfather of Soul, and he looks so bizarre, but only James could.
Oh yeah, well, cocaine is amazing. So I mean, it's kind of what it is.
So cool.
But yeah, it's just so crazy now with, I was also thinking about the election too. This is one of my kind of things. I think, let me know if I'm crazy, but you think political correctness kind of hurt the Democrats a little bit? Because now we're getting to this point where it's like you can't really say anything, and I think that the Republicans had a maniac who said whatever he wants, but sometimes I think you need to have a level-headed person who flips out. It has to be a little angry too, but with logic.
Do you really feel like you can't say anything like PC was?
No, I mean, as entertainers, that's a little different. We're there to be judged, but I mean, we're just joking around. I mean, people making real statements. I mean, like politics is what I'm saying. But yeah, we're saying things, but the problem with entertainers is people take what we say and we're joking as statements. Where I'm talking about politicians, how they should they should have been angry too, at least with facts. Because when Trump would say something ridiculous, like, well, no, that's not true, Donald. And it's like, honestly, Anthony Weiner, if he wasn't such a fucking idiot, would have been a great candidate. Have you ever seen him like flip out before in like Congress and stuff? Like he'll call bullshit on stuff like angrily, and he'll use facts. But the problem is he's a laughingstock. Like you can't vote for him. I mean, his name is a punchline.
Yeah, and his actions certainly buried him.
Yeah. Jerking off with your kid next to you, like that's even with this election. I mean, that could
Really? He did that?
The last. So you didn't know what happened? No. So the last. So he just got. He's getting divorced now, but he got caught again, and his child was in bed next to him while he was doing it, and he tried to claim he was just taking pictures with his kids. So yeah. Yeah, so the more you know.
You want, I think that more of that than maybe the PC route is that the people who were in charge were people that were super unsavory characters. Even the one party's best choice to go forward. It was down to a guy who jumped onto the Democratic Party and jumped off the Democratic Party, and he's been known as a socialist, whatever the hell that means. Just basically a guy who wants to put, I think, a lot more into progressive reform. Is it something you could realistically do? It didn't look like it economically, like he didn't really have as good a plan, but he was saying the things people wanted to hear. Yeah. But the two characters you produce are two people that, like, America doesn't want to be socialist.
I love how you turn into, you're from the South. Don't want to be socialist.
No, not in the state. And then
that's not Christian.
And then Hillary was, a career politician. He was very qualified and had an amazing record of things. However, people saw that stuff that she did, every little mistake that she made, things that cost some people their lives, or not knowing how to use an email server because she's 70. Yeah, you know.
And the truth of the matter is, she cheated. Though it was one of the things too. It's like she wasn't the best candidate. She cheated, and so some people just couldn't get past that. And so let's get a guy who's never had to go on a job interview, and just let's give it to that guy. So,
and it seems like he's doing everything I expected him to do, not fulfilling any of the promises he's purporting to do immediately with the cabinet positions that he's choosing. Yeah. And it's one of the reasons why I'm taking the trip is to go see as many national parks and beautiful untouched conservation lands
before they're gone.
It's just like I don't know what to do.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be a rough 4 years, but I mean, yeah, you gotta stick it out.
I think going back to Dylan, there was a bumper sticker on my teacher's wall. He had like bumper sticker on the podium. He put them all over the room. And one of them was Bob Dylan. It says, "To live outside the law, you must be honest." And I think that's one of the things now is like if we are going to reject some of these ridiculous laws that'll come through that'd be like, oh, it looks like we have to look up your address to make sure you're in the right bathroom because this is the law now because it's going down this crazy fucking route. We can honestly reject that and say, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm a person that the politician isn't going to be there. The guy that passed and signed the legislation, sponsored the bill, and got it through all those votes of the people that don't represent you and all the people that don't represent us, they're not going to be guarding the bathroom. It's going to be people like you and me. It's going to be the workers. It's like Fight Club. We are the people that watch you while you sleep. Do not fuck with us. And if you fuck with us, I don't think there is a violent solution that will ever be the answer.
Not at all.
I think the answer is of resistance of, you know what, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
It's that.
Well, it's the Kaepernick taking the knee thing, where it's like. But and the issue with that is people get way too caught up in propaganda. Like, it's the flag. It's like, yeah, it's a flag and it represents what we should do, but you can't. Even like the forefathers were like, yeah, you can burn the flag if there's something wrong with the country. That's part of what it is. Where it's like you see something wrong, you have the ability to stand up or take a knee and sit down and say, hey, there's something wrong here. That's your right to do it. Yeah. Whereas other people are just saying, no, you should just stand every single time. It's like there's allegiance and then there's blind allegiance. Yeah. And so
it's those people's right to say that you should stand. It's his right to not stand. Which side is right or wrong can't be proven because it's an opinion. But the guy has people addressing an issue. He's not blocking an intersection.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's getting attention towards something that's saying, you know what, I really can't be proud in a country right now where I can watch a video that was on Facebook Live of a dude who's saying, I am armed with legal license, and then gets shot in front of his wife and kid. You know how many times that guy got pulled over in Minnesota? How many times?
I forgot how it was. It was a lot. It was
52. 52. Which, if you look at it statistically, is how many times black people get shot in America by police. You're like, wow, it only took 52 times to finally get him. Like, that is a good record considering. But it's really fucked up that we're looking at it. If you think of it like that, it's like you got pulled over 52 times. What was his crime?
Being a black guy. That's literally what it is.
That's it.
Like, the thing is, like, I want to actually do that trip that you're talking about, cross country. Like, but the thing is, like, if I do that by myself, just me being who I am, if I stop in the wrong city, if I'm out too late, like, that's a real problem for me. And people don't realize, like, if I'm driving and I'm somewhere in the middle of nowhere in the middle of America and some cop's not having a good day and they just pull me over for just being who I am, that's an actual problem. Like, I might have other people just like, no, why wouldn't you be able to drive like that? It's like, yeah, it's a serious problem for me.
I'm so ignorant that I
didn't even
think of something like
if I did it by myself. But I mean, if I'm with other people on the road trip, it's not as bad. But yeah, if I do what you're doing, it may not turn out the same way. And the thing is that people just need to understand that. And I think the whole issue is...
I am doing it in blackface. Let me just clarify. Is that bad?
Is that a bad... They're just like, sir, you just need to go. But no, I think the issue... And I think the problem, too, is it's the way... This is kind of how I see it. I think white people are broken up into thirds. There's 33% of people totally cool with black people. Another 33% don't like black people. The other 33%, they're not racist, but they just don't get it. And so they don't want to say anything. And so they're kind of just, we don't understand why this is a problem, but we're not going to step up. And if we do say something, we don't want to come off as racist. They're just ignorant, but they're not racist people. And so it gets to this whole thing where it's like they don't want to say anything, and then they feel like they're lumped in with a racist, and so they can't say anything. And what we really need to do is just have a conversation. That's all it really is. If people like can come out and say, "Hey, I feel this way," and then people can say, "No, that's cool. You know, you're not a racist person. You just don't understand that this is a problem." And once everyone just starts talking,
seeing each other, being around.
Yeah, being around each other. Like when it's I'm sure there's racist people in New York City, but it's one of those things where you kind of hate people for who they are instead of what color they are, because you're just forced in New York. You're just forced to be around so many people. It's like this island that holds like 6 million people should probably only hold 200,000.
And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, there's going to be racist people there, but people out there hate you for who you are, which is the most American thing you can do.
Hatred never really got us anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's a double-edged thing of, do you get corrupted by the bitterness and the anger and the violence that surrounds you, or do you continue to open your heart in a way that allows yourself to meet other people and see other people and see the world through as much as an honest lens as you can? It's not easy to I think remain open. I think especially nowadays, depending on where you live, who you are, what color your skin is, and I do not like these rallies that are going on that are saying that we need to give them a chance, and we need to.
There's pro-Trump rallies taking a chance, or which rallies?
There's these rallies that it seems very unclear, but it's like love trumps hate, and people say this is a safe space, and I know you're scared, and it's okay. But it's also very passive in that if somebody is pushing towards creating another segregated Jim Crow law set up for all different types of people, we should not be okay.
No,
we should not be passive. We shouldn't be violent. We can still remain honest and full of love that are all of us, but staying around singing songs, like I saw this in Boston Common. I saw the I think it was the Love In. And they were singing a song from Hair, Let the Sun Shine In, and I was just like, you guys are an imitation of a thing that I get, and this might be comforting some, but it sickened me in a way that's like, I'm not okay with this.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with being just a little racist, or just a little bigot, or just a little homophobic. I don't want to allow for someone just to quietly drag my friends away in the night, or drag me away in the night, because I believe that all people should be, all men and women are, and everyone is created equally.
Good save. I like that.
There you go. We the people.
Exactly.
Did you watch a track called Quest on SNL?
Oh yeah, it's fucking amazing.
I don't know their catalog, but they hooked me from that. I was like, oh my god, that was awesome.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, that's all. I think Chappelle had the biggest. That's their biggest viewership. I think it was reading like 5 or 10 years, something like that. But it's like, if anyone's going to speak on the subject, it's him, and he just inks. I think today he has like 3 specials coming out for Netflix. They just signed him up.
Really?
Yeah, 2. I think 2 are from like an archive he has, and one's going to come out later. But yeah, I don't know if it's 2 of them or all 3 of them are all going to be released at the same time in 2017. And you see Chris Rock they paid him, I think, $20 million for 2 specials. So,
no
yeah.
money in comedy, though.
Yeah. No money in comedy.
Give it up
whatsoever.
for an
All you have to do is be in the business for 25 years, and that's when you get your big paycheck.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not looking for the paycheck. I'll do this gladly, not making any money, just to be near a room that those guys touched and get an opportunity to say the things that I like to say.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about. I think people, you've been doing it a little bit longer than I have, but it's just like people are like,
about
an hour long. Yeah. But people are usually just like, oh, when are you going to be famous? Why aren't you famous? And it's like a lot of times, I don't know about for you, but for me, it's like, I do it because I know what I don't want to do. And that's just work in an office for somebody else and help make them money. You know, that doesn't, I'm making something for them, and it's not helping me out in any way. It's just, well, you got some more money in your pocket now. You can live in this apartment, and you can buy this TV, you can have this car, and like that. You're just sitting around. You're not making anything. Whereas when you're on stage, like, you're creating something and you're making people feel better. And if you can make some money off that and live comfortably, that's kind of what it's all about. I remember my first time I saw you, I think it was 2 years. I think it was 2 years ago, Boston Comedy Festival, and you came out, and I was like, who is this neo-Nazi looking like the guy from Taxi? And I was like, this guy's definitely going to shoot up this crowd. And you didn't, and you made us all laugh. And I was like, I like that guy.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
Part of that means a lot.
Yeah. You went from scary to friendly very quickly.
Well, I say this in my act a lot, is like I know what I look like.
Yeah.
And it never represents how I feel. People, so often I get to know people and they're just like, God, I thought you hated me.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's just my face.
Yeah. My face hates you.
Maybe you're biased towards people that look like me because every time there is a school shooter or a guy with a Bible in a shed taking on the government, he kind of looks like me.
His name's probably Gary, too.
Yeah. Those guys give us a bad reputation.
Scary Gary.
All the Garys aren't the same. All Garys matter, I would say. I would say...
Gary lives matter.
Going back to, Chappelle and Chris Rock, that was one of the things that was very comforting to see them together and on stage and saying such funny jokes about things that were so recent, and they were so just like unflappable in that it seemed like a duo stand-up act when they were in that election sketch.
Oh yeah,
Chris
definitely.
Rock was just like, don't worry, it's going to be all
right.
and just like, what about illegal immigrants? And Chappelle, I think the line of the sketch was like, acting like everybody wants to pick their own strawberries. They're not going anywhere.
They're not going nowhere.
I was like, oh my God. It blew me away how funny that was, but the wisdom in it.
Oh yeah.
That's something that I strive for and want my comedy to see excel to a level of is to be funny with wisdom without being preachy.
Yeah.
And say something that could reflect the truth.
Kind of like a Carlin, where it's like, and I think that's the best part of comedy is like, yeah, you can have people who do like one-liners and storytellers, but I mean, if you can say something and you can change the way somebody thinks, I think that's the most powerful thing ever.
I don't know if I'll change anybody thinks. I just want to do it for me.
No, but it's just one of those things. It's one thing to be funny, but if you're funny and you change the way someone thought about something or an idea, not like change them like
or make them consider something.
Yeah, that they normally wouldn't. Yeah,
like that Patrice bit about Malcolm X and how you would never. Patrice is like Patrice O'Neill, amazing. Said like he would never get on stage until people loved one another because everyone that ever got close to that guy got killed. And then like he starts to talk about Malcolm X and how when Malcolm X was saying Whitey the White Devil, they left him alone. And then it was like, we should come together. And the next thing you know, it's like, get your hand out of my pocket. And it was just like, that is a brilliant thing that I never thought. And it's a sad truth. And he's just kind of like calling the fact, the ridiculousness that like, oh, we can't call for unity because I'll get killed.
Yeah. I think people don't realize that, too. It's like Malcolm X was killed by black people, and a lot of people, I don't think, realize that. And I think the issue, too, with... I thought the autobiography of Malcolm X was one of the best books I've ever read. And I think we should talk about him more than MLK sometimes, because everyone's like, oh, yeah, nonviolent resistance, that's great. But, I mean, MLK might have had a crazier life and a bigger legacy, because, like you said before, he used to say, white people are the devil, and then he left, went to Mecca, and he saw white people who were completely fine, and then he came back and he wasn't saying there were white devils, he's saying people in America are white devils.
Malcolm had a bigger legacy, you said
Malcolm probably had a bigger legacy, but we don't talk about him because we have, MLK Day and everything, and it's just not, we kind of preach the whole nonviolent resistance, which we should, but his story kind of paints a bigger picture where it's like, white people aren't the issue, it's white people in America, because his own people killed him because he changed his tune, and that was the whole issue. And people could kind of take that into consideration, where it's like, maybe it's just us. It's not all of us. It's just, not even all of us, it's just a handful of people. And people don't really get, they learn about Malcolm X, but they don't learn that much.
Right, and I think that's because of the Islamophobia.
That too, yeah. Sure.
Was he killed by fellow...
So people within, what happened was he was going to go tell a speech, and when he started coming back and changing his tune, I think it was like
Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah, Elijah Muhammad didn't like how he was changing his tune about white people. And he was becoming more like Martin Luther King, where it's just doesn't have to be violent. We should speak to these people. Whereas before, Elijah Muhammad was like, yeah, like white people are the devil. That's just what it is. Like any means necessary. Protect yourself violently. And then when he came back, he started changing his tune. And then at the Audubon Ballroom, they just three guys ran up on him and shot him on stage. And so black people were the Nation of Islam. And I think a lot of people don't really know that. And it's good to hear from both sides. But I mean, we still celebrate Christopher Columbus Day, so I mean, there's some things we need to change anyway. But like, why is that a day off? So but I think we're realizing now there's a lot of things that need to change. Like, my only positive thing from Trump being president is I think sometimes things need to go so far one way where we really realize, okay, we're not going to let that happen again. It's kind of like global warming. Like, if Florida disappears and it sinks, we're like, okay, we fucked up. Now we're going to hop on this. But sometimes we hop on things where it's too late, and some people have to lose their lives, unfortunately, for things to change. I mean, that's just kind of it. It's like most of the heroes don't really start out as heroes. Like, Trump might become a hero, Like, this guy was so bad, and he kind of just showed everything that we do wrong. How about we never do that again?
There's an old story I'll share with you.
I like that transition. There's an old story. Gather around, children.
A long, long time. Boston far away. The 1680s, Boston was a little too free. So the English decided to send an Anglican and appoint him, not elected, to be this new leader of New England Dominion, Old Dominion New England. And Edmund Andros comes here, and he's an Anglican in a Puritan society, and they both of those don't mix well together. That's why the Puritans came here. And builds a church in downtown Boston, King's Chapel. The church has been redone, but it's in the same spot. He built it on top of a burial ground because no one would sell him land, so he could build himself a church, basically. And because of his arrogance, because of the way he treated people, and because he wasn't elected, he was appointed, there was a revolution where they, as far as I know, the people of New England collectively took the governor and threw him in jail. They didn't kill anybody. No one got hurt. They paraded him around to show that we're not going to stand for this. He stayed in jail for 9 months, and then they just kicked him out. And I thought that was one of these things. And that's 1689, I think. Precursor to the American Revolution. It was one of these moments where it's like, you're going to try to tighten control on us and take away our freedoms and independence. We're not going to allow that. And we're going to rise up, and we're not only going to rebel in the right way, peaceably, we're going to take you out of power and send you away. I think that's something I've been thinking a lot about.
So you think it'd be a little bit of exile?
Yeah, why not a little bit of Napoleon-style Elba? I don't know. I'm a short guy. I'm at his height. I could do it.
I could do it. I don't know. I think the issue is, like, nowadays, like, the world's so much smaller. It's like, where are you just going to send somebody, Before, you could just, like, oh, yeah, we'll take you on a boat and you just go out there. We'll never see you again. But that's kind of like the issue, too. Even social media in general. Do you think if he didn't have Twitter, he would get so many people on his side? If he had to, like, send out his message through other channels?
I feel like the CIA will shut that down pretty quickly, starting in January. Hasn't stopped yet, but you'd think they'd have a hold on it, because can he get hacked? Like, wasn't Obama using, like, a crappy BlackBerry because it's like, all right, this thing's crappy technology that people don't want to hack?
I don't even know why he wants to be president. It's one of those things where it's like, people are going to complain to you every single day.
It's a shit show.
Yeah, it's a shit show. It's one of those things where it's just like, why do you even want that job?
I think it's because he saw money in it. As president, I don't think you have to pay taxes the rest of your life. You get things named in your honor. You get honorary degrees. Probably never pay for anything in your life again if you go to a meal or
get your own library.
You get your own service. You get your own library where you were born or grew up. You get that house turned into a museum. I think it's a type of narcissistic-like position that could feed the ultimate narcissist, which is what he really is to me.
What's the biggest thing you can get? Be president.
He's a tower with a gold name on it. Why not parts of the country that do more? All paid for by the government.
And all I did was talk a gang of shit for a year. He is the greatest insult comic, though, when you think about it. He's in the wrong profession.
He had some zingers in things. So did Newt Gingrich.
Yeah.
A few years back, I was like, kept watching Newt, and I was like, wow, he's really got this, savvy in his response is like, yeah, released this yesterday. I'm not going to talk about this. You're the mainstream media. Like, and but he stunk to high heaven of the old ways.
Yeah.
So people were like, I'm not getting my new. And I saw the same thing in him, but it was like because he can't point to an actual political position that he had that he couldn't fuck up before. Let's give him the most important one.
Exactly.
I don't know. Do you want to talk more about politics?
No, we can switch up. We might need to get some humor in here because it's just really depressing. We might have to change gears though.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you pick out do you have a spot already picked out in LA where you're staying or no?
No. I think maybe Echo Park or something like that.
You're trying to hop up and get past at like all the main clubs out there. Have you been out to LA for a bit or no?
I've never done like a lot. I've done a handful of shows. Nothing at like the store or the what's the other one?
The main. I know what you're talking about with the
Laugh Factory.
Laugh Factory, yeah, where the Kramer's spot.
And Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Just the cool stuff.
No. The store is dope, though. I've been to both of them. I did a 3-minute one at the one in San Diego, but no, I finally went to the store in LA last week. But yeah, their weekend ones, they go from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. and every 15 minutes, just another killer on stage, just all the way through, and like people stay. Like it was sold out on a Wednesday night by the time I was up there, which is what it is, and so. But yeah, I think you probably just have to meet Mitzi Shore and just be like, hey, I'm Scary Gary. Can I tell you guys some jokes? And then start them. That's really what it is. So if you need a manager, let me know.
Can you do that?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I can't budget your money. I wish you luck out there.
Thank you.
But no, it's great out there.
I think I'm set up to do the Steve Allen Theater and Ron Lynch's Tomorrow Show. I'm doing Nerd Melt at some point.
Nice.
Some other stuff in the making, in the works. I think Good Heroin is a show that's supposedly like really, really fun. Which sounds like a great title for a show, you know? Like it hooks you.
Yeah.
Right?
They'll be going for years.
Are you on drugs right now?
No, not now. No. Good. Much later.
Good. I don't partake in any of that.
Yeah. Well, you know you're going to LA. That's drug central.
Is it?
Yeah, dude.
Are you sure?
I believe so.
I thought Hollywood, like I know there's 5-year-old movie star tap dancers.
Yeah.
My knowledge is very old, and they also have isn't there just detectives? You can be a detective if you can't find work.
I think that's the backup plan, but if you get into entertainment, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's a rule anymore, but I think the first year you're just exclusively paid in cocaine. So it's not really, it's just a bunch of lines, no checks.
My town right now is just ravished by heroin.
Yeah, all the suburbs are.
Yeah, so I hope, I mean, it's nothing new.
Yeah.
I've seen some friends and acquaintances fall.
Yeah, well, it's all because people get hurt when they get on pain pills, which is the exact same thing as heroin.
It's legal heroin.
Yeah, it's legal heroin, and then they get hooked on it, and then they go find heroin.
Yeah, it's so screwed up.
Yeah, I had a kid who I grew up with passed away about 4 or 5 years ago. It's just like, it's like a way, way too common thing.
Horse pills that they give you, so many doctors easily hand them out, and I truly believe that it's maybe not a conspiracy, but maybe just whoever's handing stuff out, it's just easier.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to deal with this actual problem.
Yeah.
I'll just give it away.
Well, they recently found out it's like some conspiracy people had, but they used to pay doctors back in the day to say that sugar wasn't dangerous.
Yes.
That just came out recently, where it's like they literally paid people to say this wasn't dangerous. I mean, same thing with cigarettes, same thing with weed. Like, our government is, they lie sometimes. Yeah. Hear that, boys and girls? Not always transparent with us.
Yeah, I don't trust much. I'm trying to be as natural ish as I can. I'll still eat like a deli sandwich, but try to get away from putting anything foreign type things into my body, just because that's part of this road trip. It's like a soul search, but I'm not going to go take like ayahuasca and sit in the desert.
Well, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that. You probably won't make it.
No, I think I'd rather just bring a seltzer and watch the sunset.
But once you get to L.A., I mean, it's all kale for you.
Yeah, I like kale. You like kale?
It's all right. I don't dislike kale.
You do shakes. You're in good shape. What do you eat?
What do I eat? Eat a lot of salmon.
Really?
Yeah, it's good for you. I mean, like it's good to have a little red meat, but don't have too much of it. The lighter the meat, the better. Yeah. And it's that and just exercise as much as you can.
Yeah. I hate salmon, but I'll eat it.
Yeah,
because it's so healthy.
No, it's
I
not
like
good.
cod, like a little codfish.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. But you'll see once you're out in LA, it's like if you don't know it now, they hate ugly people in LA.
What?
Yeah,
but I'm so handsome.
Oh, they'll let you know. It's no. If you even watch the news, it's just like you have to be in pristine shape. But the thing is, they don't have winter out there, so you can't put your winter clothes on and just loaf around or anything. You have to be on top of your shit because it's nice weather 24/7. So, and superficial as fuck. So.
It's also an interesting time in entertainment. Is like there's a Wild West element too, where it's like you just get an iPhone, make a movie, put it on the internet, and people can see it, and things can happen.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have to audition for yourself to put a thing together.
Yeah, it's kind of like the crew in Always Sunny. They were just like, "Hey, we want to work in Hollywood and get a show," and it's like sometimes you got to make your own job. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, as long as you got, I mean, that's the reason why I podcast here and there. I might eventually work in radio. People keep telling me I have a nice voice. I don't get it.
You have a wonderful voice.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll do a test. We'll do a test PSA.
Sure, we're going to do the test. What should I say?
I used to work at my college radio station, unpaid, on a show, and they had some PSAs from Shaq about North American mallard. Yeah. How to save the North American mallard.
Why the hell would he mumbles like a motherfucker? Why would he? Yeah.
He did it, and Morgan Freeman. Yeah. People with amazing, good, deep voice. Yeah. There was one by I think Charlize Theron. Yeah. It's not a deep voice, but a good one. So why don't we do?
I'd rather be just Morgan Freeman though.
All right, let's do Morgan Freeman delivering about the North American mallard. Let's see if we can do that.
Hello, friends. This is Morgan Freeman. The New England mallard has about 5,000 left in the nation. Please donate to whatever the hell Gary was talking about. We can save these mallards.
I like the cadence there.
Thank you.
With Morgan, you go up,
and then we got to go down. But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know. I just enjoy talking to people. That's just what it is. I just like speaking to people, and so if I can get kind of paid in any way, whether doing stand-up or hosting a show, doing a radio show, I mean, it's way more interesting than, like I said before, sitting in a cubicle all day, helping my manager get paid so his manager can get paid so his CEO can get paid, and then they can just throw me a little change like, hey, here you go, have fun with that. But yeah, we're not creating anything, but entertainment, I mean, yeah, it's a shady business here and there, but when things go well, they go very well. Especially your Louis C.K. shows. I mean, was it 3? You opened up 3 times or 4 times altogether?
4 times over a couple of years. So I did way back a couple of years ago. I did 2 shows.
Yeah.
Right before he was about to do Madison Square Garden next week, which was awesome. And then this time it was pop-up shows at the Paradise and then Somerville Theater this past summer. And that was a privilege, incredible to watch him work and work out stuff and talk to him. He gave me wisdom that I will never share with anybody.
Exactly. And you can never, and you can't, that's irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Could you ever work at your job and then you meet a great comic and then just shoot the shit for a bit? It's never going to happen, but you have to do this to get to that. But, it's a lot of hard work, but, it's hard work in a different way. We work, 25, 30 minutes a night, and then we just chill all day and write a bunch of dumb shit. We're working, but we're also...
It's not work if you enjoy it.
Yeah, that too.
Really hard at it.
Exactly.
It's fun. I like to think and walk and write and develop an idea and say silly things. It's that's my whole day. Is trying to stay a little silly. As we were so heavy in the beginning of this,
Yeah.
That stuff wears on me so much.
Yeah, and you got to find a little escape here. And that's what, at least for me, going on stage is. You hop out of that shit for a bit, and you can at least talk to a bunch of strangers and then just make them feel good about their day.
Yeah, I've been doing this thing because I feel like nobody's responding to political comedy on stage right now.
Yeah, it's just, I think everyone's just so done with it.
So exhausted.
Yeah.
So, which is great. This podcast will wear them up. The bit I've been trying to do is just like about how the first election ever prepared me for every election after that, because George Washington ran under the platform, I don't want to be president, and everyone was like, I like what this guy has to say.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, it's been not a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
He was unanimously elected. Like, imagine, that's how we started. And then from then on, it's okay. It was like, we know the system's crazy. And
Yeah.
It can be, it can always be crazy, because it will be, but we survive as people since the beginning.
The thing is, it's a really thankless job. As we started a very thankless job, and now
Being
it's
George Washington?
No, not being George Washington. Being president was a very thankless job before, and now it's like people just want it for all the things that come with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a problem too with a lot of people just get into public service because it's about them and they don't want to help people.
Yeah, I'm a public servant. I've served for the National Park Service twice, and currently one of the things I might do in LA is work in the LA Children's Zone for AmeriCorps or Habitat for Humanity in different places around California. I think Oakland needs more stuff, but I want to be around LA. But one of the things, a day job type thing that I would happily do is contribute to something like that, where you work in an after-school program, where you work with different communities, you get to meet people, and you get to help kids push towards their graduation and have a better life, keep them on track, give them a chance to talk to someone who knows somebody. Someone told me once, do you know what separates a kid from turning into a murderer from like a really bad home to being like a developed person is one good relationship with an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Like one adult in their lives to say, hey, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, don't be an asshole.
And I grew up in some tough times where I thought I wasn't going to make it because of just the home life was so crazy at times. My dad did a great job, but it was just like I needed a lot of other people to reassure me. My mom's craziness that would go on, because she was a manic, depressive alcoholic. So I needed somebody to say,
hey, this shit's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay, and you're going to do good things. And I wouldn't be here without people like that. Wouldn't be here without a dad who was able to pull things along.
So what you're pretty much saying, too, is, I don't want to say it ahead of time, but Gary Petersen 2020, is that what we're...
Not old enough, but yeah, I wish. Maybe the Senate.
You mean Senate?
Yeah. Franken did it.
Yeah.
Al Franken could do it. Maybe I could do it, but I don't know.
I believe in you, sir.
I don't think you need job experience anymore. If
Clearly you don't. I mean, can you go on stage, talk a bunch of shit, and get people to like you, and say the other guy's worse?
I'm halfway there.
Yeah. You got, like, at least half the Electoral College.
I just gotta find some group to disenfranchise. Maybe nobody attacks Eskimos.
I hate them, too. Now that you speak it, I hate Eskimos, too.
Everything's melting. Why aren't they preserving? Just go after that. I don't know. I don't want to. I never want that job.
Yeah.
But I'd rather. I think you could do more as a community leader, or one-on-one, normal. You don't have to be a big position to do big things. I think.
Gary Petersen, comic and motherfucking superhero, will save this world.
No.
Before we hop up out of here, where can people find you online? You got any shows coming up?
Yes.
Promote yourself.
GaryPetersonComedy.com. Petersen spelled all E's, so Gary Petersen comedy.com. On there is also my podcast. It's on iTunes. We're getting the band back together with Gary Petersen. I think it's WGBBT. On iTunes, but it's all on my website.
Nice.
I'm doing my final goodbye show Friday at Great Scott at 7:30.
This will be out by then.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
It's $5. I'm gonna have a long set, and it's gonna be a good time. I know it's Black Friday, so people probably be shopping or doing family stuff still from Thanksgiving. But if you can make it, we'll have some fun. If not, I'll never forgive you.
Exactly. Good shit, guys. When you're done fighting middle-aged people at Walmart for that TV, come and check out Gary. He's a great guy. It's definitely worth the time. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming by.
Thank you, Jeff. You're a wonderful man. It's been a pleasure doing all the stuff we've done together.
Appreciate you too, sir. Guys, thanks for listening to the Friends with Words podcast. Peace and love.